My sister-in-law, Sarah, was due to give birth, and the ultrasound predicted the baby's weight to be up to 5 kilograms. Seeing her petite figure, only 1.55 meters tall, I advised a C-section, but her whole family insisted on a natural birth, claiming anesthesia would make the baby stupid. My husband, Daniel, and my mother-in-law even blamed me, saying I was desperate for a successful natural birth rate and would resort to any means to achieve it. They decided to switch hospitals. The result was a severe perineal tear for Sarah, tearing from front to back, causing waste to leak from the front. She cried and begged me to perform reconstructive surgery, but her condition was so severe that a single surgery wouldn't fully restore it. Afterward, her husband, Leo, disgusted by her odor and condition, had an affair and kicked her out of the house. Sarah believed I deliberately botched the initial surgery to mock her and snuck into my house to drown me in the bathtub. When I opened my eyes again, I had been reborn. I immediately filed for divorce, thinking, "You people can get your illnesses treated wherever you like, just don't come looking for me." But to my surprise, Sarah shamelessly booked an appointment with me. Looking into her eyes, I guessed she had also been reborn. Sarah was an older expectant mother, having married many years before finally conceiving. My mother-in-law often repeated that this precious grandson was a blessing I'd prayed for through vegetarianism and meditation, so everything had to go her way. Their family frequently read articles online, believing that only natural birth was good for the baby. But Sarah, with her small frame, was not physically suited for natural childbirth. Not to mention, she was lazy and spent all day resting, eating all sorts of nutritious foods, which made the baby grow excessively large. The prenatal ultrasound showed an abnormally large fetus. I advised her to have a C-section, even helping her book an appointment with the hospital's best doctor. Yet, Sarah flew into a rage. My husband Daniel and my mother-in-law also sneered coldly. "Chloe, you're truly insane for money, even scheming against your own family. Everyone knows C-sections are more expensive. You'd stoop to any means just to meet your quotas." Daniel repeatedly demanded I speak with my team leader, insisting we had to arrange for Sarah to have a natural birth. But the report clearly showed that a natural birth would be extremely dangerous. I patiently explained about C-sections, emphasizing that not everyone is suitable for a natural birth. But my sister-in-law's family wouldn't listen. They retorted, "Aren't the standards for natural birth set by you people anyway? You can say whatever you want. It's all just about money, isn't it? Do you think we're stupid? Before C-sections existed, didn't women still give birth?" I almost burst out laughing. In times before C-sections, was the maternal and infant mortality rate the same as it is now? Regardless, I couldn't lower my standards for them. My husband and mother-in-law turned their backs on me because of this. Sarah, in a fit of pique, switched to another private hospital. "Even if it costs more money, I won't let you use me to boost your performance," she declared. The result of the excessively large fetus was a severe perineal tear for Sarah. The tear extended from the front all the way to her anus. After childbirth, she developed a rectovaginal fistula, an incredibly painful condition where she couldn't control her bowel movements. Waste leaked from her vagina, causing the wound to be constantly infected and difficult to heal. Sarah regretted it deeply, crying and begging me to perform reconstructive surgery, but the condition was too severe to be fully restored with a single operation. Afterward, the infected wound gave off such a foul odor that her husband, Leo, couldn't stand it. He didn't even want to look at her. My mother-in-law snatched the baby, her husband had an affair, and then kicked her out of the house. Unable to contend with her mother-in-law and husband, Sarah turned all her anger on me, believing I deliberately botched the surgery to mock her. One night, she snuck into my house and drowned me in the bathtub. It was only when I died that I realized the depth of her hatred for me. She had asked Daniel for my door code, and my husband had hidden it from me, giving it to her. Daniel even fabricated his testimony, pinning all the blame on me, because he, like Leo, was having an affair and wanted to monopolize my assets. He even wished for my death to make way for his mistress. This time, Reborn, the first thing I did was divorce Daniel, that scum of a man. The reason was already clear. Daniel's close college friend, Sophia, worked in HR at a private hospital. For her quotas, she constantly pressured Daniel to lure me away, painting a picture of high salaries, a luxury car in a year, and a mansion in 3. I refused, so Daniel forced me to quit. Today, after work, he met me at the gate of my house, still harping on the old topic. I resolutely headed to the divorce office. Daniel, bewildered, chased after me, asking for a reason. I told him, because you just walked through the door with your left foot first. I hate people who step in with their left foot first. Astrology books say people like you are extremely selfish and would stoop to any means. Daniel didn't believe me. You're clearly insane. It's just because you don't want to go to the private hospital I recommended, so you're deliberately picking a fight, right? What benefits is your department head giving you that makes you cling to this dilapidated public hospital? You work overtime every day, but don't seem to earn much money, or are you secretly hiding money from me? I knew Daniel was greedy and always wanted to control the money, but I never expected him to go so far as to harm me to seize my assets. After being reborn, I had no intention of dealing with these crazy people anymore. Of the 36 stratagems, running away is the best. After packing my belongings, I immediately left, moving into another apartment I owned, which was both close to work and comfortable. I thought by leaving the Zai family, I could avoid the troubles of my previous life, but I was too naive. Sarah still came to my hospital for her prenatal checkups. Looking at her still flat stomach and the data on her examination sheet, I realized she had only just conceived. Thinking of how she had frantically stabbed me with a knife in my previous life, I truly wanted to kick her and cause a miscarriage right then and there. But glancing down at my white coat, I forced myself to hold back. She put on an arrogant facade. I heard you and Daniel had a fight? Daniel only wants what's best for you. Public hospitals are no match for private ones, from salary to future prospects. Why are you still clinging to this place? I looked at her coldly and said, then I'll cancel your appointment. You can switch to a private hospital. To my surprise, she scoffed, no, I'll only see you. After all, we're still family. I had to fight just to get an appointment with you. You can't refuse. Don't worry, when my belly gets big, I'll listen to you and choose a C-section. You won't deliberately botch my surgery, will you? Those words startled me, and I couldn't help but look up, meeting her cold, resentful gaze. I shivered. In that moment, I thought, Sarah must have also been reborn. I wasn't sure what her purpose was in seeking me out, but her irrationality and cruelty were all too familiar. I knew continuing like this would lead to no good. But she was right. Hospital regulations didn't allow refusing a patient who had booked an appointment without a valid reason. Was I supposed to quit my job because of this madwoman? I had worked incredibly hard to get into this top hospital. Before, many private hospitals offered me high salaries, but I refused them all. The thought of giving up the job I had worked so hard for left a bitter taste in my mouth. Fortunately, Sarah's pregnancy was still early. For now, it was just routine prenatal checkups. I had to find another way. The next month, Sarah came for her prenatal checkup again. This time, Daniel also accompanied her. He had called me countless times before, but I didn't answer. Perhaps having no other option, he came with her to the hospital to find me. Just then, an uproar erupted from the line of people outside the examination room. A young man with tattooed arms pushed his way into the room. I recognized him. Last week, he had brought his girlfriend for a prenatal checkup. Dr. Woods from my team was the attending physician. Woods discovered his girlfriend had anemia and advised her to supplement her nutrition, otherwise it would affect the fetus. As fate would have it, the girlfriend decided to have an abortion on her own, fearing for the baby's health. This man blamed Woods entirely, accusing the doctor of scaring his girlfriend, leading to the loss of their child. He demanded 1 million yuan in compensation and caused a huge scene. Woods, new to the profession, was encountering this situation for the first time. He stood up, flustered, his face pale, not knowing what to do. The tattooed man, belligerent, cursed and grabbed the doctor by the collar. I immediately shouted to stop him and called security. Just as he raised his fist, I quickly darted in front of Woods. In front of everyone, he punched me straight in the head. Honestly, it didn't hurt as much as I expected. On the contrary, he seemed to hurt himself more, pulling his hand back and shaking it repeatedly. But I still pretended to clutch my head, screaming dramatically, "Oh my God, my head hurts so much. It feels like it's splitting open." Then I rolled my eyes and collapsed to the ground. The crowd immediately erupted. Heavens, assaulting a doctor. Did he hit her temple? It could be life-threatening. Several husbands who were accompanying their wives for checkups rushed in, along with security, to restrain the man. I, meanwhile, was taken for examination and took the opportunity to enjoy a good nap. When I woke up, I saw Daniel sitting beside my hospital bed, feigning heartbreak, even shedding a few tears. It was truly laughable. He might fool others, but not me. Daniel, ever greedy, clearly wanted to seize this opportunity to extort money from our hospital. When the tattooed man rushed into the examination room, Daniel had been standing right by the door, but if he genuinely cared for me, he would have rushed in to help. Instead, he let me take both punches. Chloe, I deliberately waited for you after work today, never expecting to encounter such a thing. You are truly too kind-hearted. This is a work-related accident. The hospital will definitely have to compensate us. With that, Daniel tried to hug me. I sprang up like lightning and slapped him forcefully. You scoundrel, how dare you touch me? Daniel was dazed by the slap, but because there were others in the hospital room, he didn't dare to flare up. He just forced a bitter smile. Chloe, don't be scared. I'm your husband. Look closely, I'm Daniel. I blinked, feigning confusion. Seeing this, he looked a little flustered and turned to the doctor for help. The doctor was surprised. That's strange. Earlier examinations only showed superficial injuries, nothing serious. Could there be undetected brain damage? The doctor asked me. Dr. Chloe, this man says he's your husband. Do you really not remember anything? I weakly rubbed my forehead, looking at Daniel. You say you're my husband? Really? Then tell me a secret only my husband and I know. Can you prove it? Daniel nodded frantically. I trembled as I got off the bed. He immediately reached out to support me. Seizing the opportunity, I swiftly pulled down his sports pants. My husband had an affair and contracted a sexually transmitted disease. That thing of his was completely rotten. Let me see if yours is still intact. Daniel screamed, quickly covering his crotch with his hands and backing away a few steps. Unexpectedly, he tripped over a plant stand in the room and fell backward, hitting his head on the ground. It was quite a painful fall. He lay there, unable to get up for a long time. But the funniest thing was that he was practically naked in a patient room full of young female doctors and patients, none of whom dared to go near him to help. I pretended to cover my eyes and shrieked, "He's lying. That thing of his is still intact. This is definitely a pervert pretending to be my husband. Come quickly and catch him. How dare he act so depraved in a female patient's room?" My screams brought everyone from outside rushing in. Several male patient relatives and security guards quickly grabbed Daniel, dragging him into the hallway, punching and kicking him furiously. This pervert, he even harassed female patients. My daughter isn't even grown up yet and he's defiled her. Eventually, the police arrived to verify Daniel's identity and he was released. But a video of him naked, being beaten and called a pervert, was recorded by someone and uploaded online. This caused him to lose face with clients, and he also lost his job. I pretended to be drifting in and out of consciousness, but I ate and drank comfortably, with no major issues. However, I couldn't continue working at the moment, so the hospital granted me extended leave and required regular follow-up checkups. My mother-in-law, furious that Daniel had lost his job because of me, called to scold me, but I didn't care. I knew this time, Sarah's plan had completely failed. The Zai family no longer had the opportunity to bother me. Sarah understood she couldn't rely on me and switched to the private hospital where Sophia worked. Unlike public hospitals, private hospitals offered a dazzling array of paid services. Although Sarah's husband, Leo, was a successful businessman and their family was not short on money, he and his mother were very conservative, believing that only natural birth made babies intelligent and healthy. Sarah had suffered greatly in her previous life, so this time, no matter what, she dared not choose a natural birth. She made an appointment to have dinner with Sophia to complain. As I was strolling through the hospital, I coincidentally saw Sarah, arm in arm with Sophia, entering a coffee shop. I pulled my cap low over my face and secretly followed, choosing a seat near them. Sarah began to confide in Sophia, saying she desperately wanted a C-section, but her husband and mother-in-law firmly disagreed. She had no independent income, no family backing her, and dared not confront her in-laws. "Your private hospital is really good, but the C-section package is too expensive. I can't afford it," she sighed, stirring her coffee listlessly. Sophia winked reassuringly. "Sister, you're too stressed. It's not time to decide on the birth method yet. Just take it easy." Sarah hesitated, seemingly wanting to speak but holding back. I guess she couldn't comfortably recount what had happened in her previous life. only making excuses about reading online about perineal tears and complications during natural birth. Sophia advised, "Those cases are rare unless the baby is too big. If you control your weight well, you'll be fine." As she spoke, she took out her phone to show Sarah. Nowadays, there are many yoga and exercise classes specifically for pregnancy. Many celebrities focus on losing fat and staying in shape during pregnancy. Aside from their bellies, you can barely tell they're pregnant from behind. Hearing this, Sarah's eyes lit up. In her previous life, because she had been married for so long before having this child, her mother-in-law cherished her greatly. She didn't even trust outside help. As Leo's business prospered and he earned more money, his family became increasingly arrogant, especially her mother-in-law, who had always been picky and often showed disdain because Sarah hadn't conceived for so long. Fortunately, the baby came at the right time, and as long as she could give birth to a son, her position in the Koo family would be secure. From the day Sarah announced her pregnancy, her mother-in-law happily took on the role of a free maid. She nourished Sarah daily, never missing abalone, seafood, pork rib soup, and chicken soup. She even treated them like drinks, forcing Sarah to consume them constantly. Fearing Sarah might stumble, she wouldn't let her move around too much, even bringing water directly to her mouth. But because of this, with her height of 1.55 meters, Sarah was forced to eat until she was as round as a ball and developed gestational diabetes. Gradually, Leo's eyes were filled with disgust for her. His affair probably started around that time. This time, Sarah found Sophia's words very reasonable. She immediately declared to her mother that she wanted to control her weight and strive for a natural birth. Her mother, overjoyed, quickly ran to tell her mother-in-law. Upon hearing the news, her mother-in-law valued her even more, rarely praising her for being sensible and deciding to take care of herself. She devised a strict prenatal diet with scientific nutritional principles for an elite baby. In addition, she arranged prenatal yoga classes and various other physical activities for Sarah. Sarah never expected her nightmare to begin here. Every morning, she was dragged out of her warm bed by her mother-in-law to do an hour of yoga, under the guise of strengthening her pelvic floor muscles for an easier natural birth. In reality, her mother-in-law forced her to perform all sorts of difficult poses. Afterward came activities like swimming, brisk walking, and prenatal exercises, all of which left her exhausted. Sarah, who had been pampered since childhood, could not endure such fatigue. After a short time, she complained incessantly about her suffering, but dared not utter a word to her mother-in-law, fearing being scolded for being spoiled and unreasonable. Even more horrifying was the diet her mother-in-law prepared. Breakfast consisted only of boiled eggs and a slice of whole wheat bread. Lunch was brown rice with boiled shrimp and chicken breast. Dinner was even more meager, with only bland stir-fried vegetables and grain porridge. Sarah, who loved salty and sweet foods, craved all sorts of things even more after becoming pregnant, but now she had to eat bland meals every day, to the point where it felt like living death. At night, her stomach growled with hunger, but when she secretly tried to snack and was caught by her mother-in-law, she was severely scolded. "Mom, I'm so hungry," she protested meekly. Her mother-in-law coldly said, "Snacks are just cravings, not hunger. I'm doing this for your own good, so the baby won't be too big and birth will be easier." Besides forcing her to eat and exercise, her mother-in-law had also heard about some folk remedy that said pregnant women needed frequent intercourse to open the birth canal and facilitate natural delivery. Sarah was already exhausted from pregnancy, coupled with a packed exercise schedule, and had absolutely no desire for marital relations. But her mother-in-law didn't care, forcing her and Leo to open the birth canal every night. Sarah lived in misery, daring not to resist, enduring dark days under her mother-in-law's subtle orchestrations. I merely observed everything from the sidelines, feeling not a shred of sympathy, only immense satisfaction. Finally, one day, Sarah couldn't bear it anymore and secretly sought me out. Through the doorbell screen, I recognized her. She had lost several pounds, her voice was weak, and her eyes were filled with exhaustion. "Chloe, do you really not remember anything?" she probed unwillingly. "In my past life, you said I ate too much and the baby was too big, so you advised a C-section. This time, I'm strictly controlling my weight, so can I have a natural birth? You're an obstetrician, tell me the truth." I knew she was agonizing over whether to continue or not, but I chose to continue feigning ignorance. "You want to ask about childbirth? That's right in my area of expertise. Listen carefully. I opened my phone, found an article about how to care for sows after farrowing, and read it aloud with great emotion. Everyone knows the saying, a good boar makes a good litter, a good sow makes a whole farrowing house thrive. This demonstrates how important sow care is after farrowing. After giving birth, sows are weak, both digestive and physically, and need proper adjustment. Sarah angrily pounded on the door. Chloe, damn it, who are you calling a sow? I struggled to suppress my laughter, continuing to read seriously. Furthermore, nutritional supplementation for sows after farrowing is also crucial. There are many types of vitamins, trace elements, and glucose supplements to enhance nutrition, and simultaneously, through breast milk, transmit nutrients to the piglets, meeting their nutritional needs. Sarah pounded the door until her hands were red and swollen. The loud noise even attracted a security guard with a stick. In the end, she had no choice but to flee in a disheveled state. Watching her retreating figure, I couldn't help but let out a cold smile. Sarah, you've finally met your match. Her mother-in-law continued to impose a harsh training regimen. Sarah grew increasingly gaunt, and her complexion gradually worsened. Her biological mother, pained to see this, visited the Koo family many times, bringing nourishing foods like braised pork and stews, but was always coldly blocked at the door by Sarah's mother-in-law. Auntie, all of this is what your daughter asked for. I painstakingly care for and supervise her every day. It's exhausting. What do you mean by bringing these things? Are you implying that I'm not taking good care of her? After saying this, she scornfully glanced at the dishes Sarah's mother had brought. Don't worry, in my house, Sarah only eats high-end organic food. I would never let her touch these common market foods. What if she eats them and something goes wrong, affecting my grandson? Can you bear that responsibility? Sarah's biological mother was so furious her face turned white, unable to utter a word, only harboring resentment in her heart. Sarah watched her mother being put in such a difficult position, unable to help, her heart heavy with sadness. She confided in Sophia to vent. Sophia, my life is so miserable right now. Does trying for a natural birth really mean anything? Sophia comforted her while continuing to tout the benefits of natural birth. Sister Sarah, many experts say that naturally born children are smarter. Plus, natural birth is good for your body. Look at celebrities, they all have natural births because their figures recover so quickly. If you have a C-section, it's not only hard to have a second child, but it also leaves a long, centipede-like scar on your stomach, which looks very ugly. Many men care about that a lot. To be honest, many expectant mothers at our hospital who had C-sections ended up with sagging, ugly bellies, and their husbands eventually cheated on them. Sophia's words struck Sarah's sore spot. She knew exactly what kind of man her husband was. In her previous life, even though she sacrificed everything to bear Leo's child, enduring all sorts of pain, he still found her dirty and disgusting, and it wasn't long before he had an affair. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but shiver. A glimmer of despair flashed in her eyes. No, this time she couldn't repeat her past mistakes. She absolutely had to control her weight, maintain her figure, and tightly hold onto Leo's heart. Under Sophia's brainwashing, Sarah completely abandoned the idea of a C-section, gritting her teeth and persevering with her mother-in-law's strict training regimen. She forced herself to eat foods she could barely swallow, exercising non-stop, all just to have a natural birth and a healthy, adorable baby. I silently observed everything, waiting for the opportune moment to execute my revenge plan. Soon, Sarah began to see the results of her persistence. Her weight was very well controlled, and her figure was much slimmer than in her previous life. She could comfortably wear beautiful clothes. Many people even marveled that she was the thinnest pregnant woman they had ever seen. Her mother-in-law finally showed a milder attitude, and Leo also looked pleased, treating her more gently and affectionately than before. Sarah, seeing her efforts rewarded, was confident that she had changed her destiny. She ran to show off to me, as if to provoke me. Chloe, look, I'm much thinner now, right? My husband even praised me for being prettier than before. This time, I'll definitely have a natural birth and a healthy, adorable baby. Originally, I thought you were deliberately avoiding me because you were reborn like me. But now I think you must have been punched silly by that guy. Serves you right, haha, you're about to lose your job anyway. What hospital would keep a useless person? Luckily, I was determined to have a natural birth. Otherwise, how could I have achieved today's results? She stroked her belly, her face radiant as if she had already seen a bright future. After standing at the doorbell and chattering for a long time, she left contentedly. I stood inside, coldly watching her smug face. I still remembered very clearly that in my previous life, my house's door code was given to Sarah by Daniel, that scoundrel of a husband. He had cheated but didn't want a divorce to avoid splitting assets. After killing me, he seized my assets and lived happily with his mistress. To this day, I still didn't know who his mistress was. Luckily, the car app on my phone was still logged in, allowing me to unlock his car. I secretly installed a small camera in the car, monitoring his every move. Soon, I overheard a conversation between him and another woman. Unfortunately, she was sitting in the back seat, in the camera's blind spot, but her sweet voice sounded very familiar. "Honey, I think your sister is very obedient to your mother and husband," Daniel replied. "That's right. For the past 2 years, her husband's company has been flourishing, buying villas and luxury cars. She hasn't worked a day since she got married. When a man gets rich and powerful, he only wishes his wife would just die. My brother-in-law is exactly the same, getting more arrogant every day. But in reality, with things laid out before him, he can't not humble himself." The woman said, "Why do you think that, honey?" Daniel chuckled miserably. "I'm different. Whether I'm rich or not, I only wish Chloe would die sooner. Honestly, that thug was useless. Why didn't he punch her to death? What a pity that big house is premarital property. I wouldn't get anything if we divorced." The woman giggled sweetly. "It's okay, honey. I love you for who you are. As long as I can be with you, I'm content." The way she called him, honey, was so sweet and familiar that I immediately recognized it. Wasn't this Sophia? I continued to observe for a few more days, discovering that Daniel frequently dated Sophia, taking her out to eat and shop at high-end malls. Sophia also repeatedly inquired about Sarah's pregnancy, to the point that Daniel even wondered, "Why are you so concerned about my sister?" Sophia replied, "She's your sister, and she's pregnant for the first time at an older age. You studied medicine, shouldn't you care?" Combined with Sarah's abnormal actions, I began to suspect that Sophia's advice to Sarah was absolutely not for her benefit, but certainly had other intentions. Time flew by and Sarah's belly grew larger. Meanwhile, Daniel came to see me a few times, wanting to know how much compensation the hospital had paid me for the work-related accident. It was truly ridiculous. He was still fantasizing about the compensation money. If he had just bothered to ask a lawyer, he wouldn't have wasted his time on such baseless ideas. I decided to wait until Sarah had given birth. Then I would no longer evade, but directly file for divorce. But while Sarah was still immersed in her dream of happiness, an unexpected accident shattered everything. That day, as usual, Sarah was exercising in a park near her home. To maintain her figure, she combined both equipment and bodyweight exercises, lifting weights and jogging. While running, she suddenly felt severe abdominal pain, and then a warm fluid flowed from her body. She immediately thought she was going into labor, but it was still a long time before her due date. I learned about this through the camera in Daniel's car. Despite the pain, Sarah desperately called Leo, but no one answered. Out of desperation, she called Daniel. "Daniel, hurry up and drive me. I'm about to give birth." After she was admitted to the hospital, the doctor examined her and announced that Sarah's condition was not good. Due to overexercising, she had gone into premature labor, and the fetus was in a breech position. An emergency C-section was needed. Emergency C-section? Sarah was stunned at the news. She had worked so hard to control her diet and exercise rigorously. Wasn't it all to have a natural birth? She begged the doctor, "Please, can I try for a natural birth?" "I really don't want a C-section," but the doctor flatly refused. "Your current condition is not suitable for natural birth. If you insist, it will be life-threatening." Sarah wanted to say more, but the excruciating pain prevented her from uttering another word. When Sarah's biological mother heard the news, she rushed to the hospital in a panic. I was also on that floor for a follow-up checkup. Not long after, Sarah's mother-in-law also arrived. Enemies met, sparks flying in their eyes. Sarah's biological mother couldn't control herself and jumped up, scolding her mother-in-law for mistreating her daughter. Sarah's mother-in-law, in turn, ridiculed Sarah for not being able to keep her baby inside, failing even at pregnancy. The two mothers argued fiercely, then lunged at each other, fighting right there in the hospital. Just then, the doctor emerged from the operating room, announcing with regret, "The fetus had congenital abnormalities and has died. The main cause was severe malnutrition and anemia due to a prolonged, harsh diet. The two mothers froze for a few seconds, then simultaneously fainted as if on cue. After Sarah's miscarriage, I fully recovered and returned to work at the hospital. Daniel's mother was admitted for emergency treatment for a brain stroke, with her left side paralyzed. As for Sarah's mother-in-law, the fall during the argument was so severe that she had to be hospitalized for hip surgery. Daniel was swamped with his mother's and sister's affairs, no longer having time to contact me, giving me the opportunity to gather enough evidence for my divorce lawsuit. It was at this moment that I discovered another shocking secret. While checking on patients in the inpatient ward, I saw Leo leading a woman to visit his mother. It turned out this scoundrel still retained his philandering nature, like a dog that can't kick its habit of eating poop. I blended into a group of resident doctors and entered the patient's room. Leo was complaining that the hospital no longer had private rooms, while his mother seemed pleased, intimately holding the girl's hand. "It's all right, I heard Sophia is pregnant, I'm so happy." Hearing this, I felt an electric shock. "Sophia?" I quickly looked up at the girl with the voluminous curly hair timidly standing next to Leo. Indeed, it was Sophia. Wasn't she just holding hands sweetly with Daniel? How did she also find time to start an affair with Leo? She was even carrying his child. I silently counted on my fingers for a long time, still unable to comprehend this multi-angled relationship. Leo angrily continued, "Mom, I sacrificed so much for that child, and in the end I couldn't keep the baby, and I even got beaten by Sarah's mother. It's too much. I was truly foolish before to marry such a childish woman like her." I glanced at Leo and almost burst out laughing aloud. He was ugly and short, still covered in red acne in middle age like late puberty. His body was disproportionate, a 5-to-5 ratio, and he was quite short. If he didn't wear custom-made platform shoes, he wouldn't even dare to step outside. Sophia, at 1.72 meters tall, stood a head taller than him. Honestly, Sophia's taste was truly remarkable. While still involved with Daniel, she then started an affair with the rich brother-in-law. She was even pregnant with his child. I guess she would definitely find a way to break up with Daniel before he found out. Fortunately, everything I needed to prepare was almost complete, ready for action. Sure enough, on the way back, as Daniel drove her home, Sophia suggested they break up. I monitored the entire scene through the hidden camera in the car. When Sophia, her eyes red, uttered the two words "break up," Daniel froze. He tried to coax her. "Baby, I know I haven't had much time for you lately, but you can see, my sister and mother have been in one trouble after another, and the house is a mess. Once I sort everything out, I promise I'll spend more time with you." Sophia rolled her eyes, tears welling up, and choked out, "But don't you know, Chloe has returned to work. It's clear she's faking it, deliberately using every means to avoid you and your family. She keeps dragging things out like this, clearly not wanting a divorce. I'm so tired and hurt already. I truly don't want to continue this hopeless relationship anymore. Senior, can we break up peacefully and be good friends afterward?" Daniel's face was cold, and he drove in silence for a long time. Finally, he threw an envelope at Sophia. "Open it and see. Inside is the divorce agreement Chloe sent me, already signed." Daniel said, "This is the divorce agreement she sent me. I've already signed it. I've just been too busy lately to tell you. So now we don't need to break up, do we?" Sophia hesitated for a moment, then said she wanted to get out of the car to think more. But Daniel suddenly accelerated, speeding onto the highway. Sophia panicked and screamed, "What do you want to do?" "Force me, a forced melon isn't sweet," Daniel chuckled coldly. "There's also a small USB drive in the envelope. Just plug it into your phone and watch the content, then we'll talk." Sophia did so and instantly went pale. Inside were videos and photos of her intimately embracing Leo at the hospital during a prenatal checkup. Daniel watched her reaction in the rearview mirror, sneering, "You cheap whore. You've been sleeping with my brother-in-law, and yet you dare to put on an act in front of me. Think carefully about all the disgusting schemes you cooked up for me. You exploited my sister's desire for a natural birth, telling her to starve herself, cut weight, and exercise intensely. You said it was to make birth easier, but in reality, it was to destroy her and the baby, all to steal my sister's husband." Sophia gave a faint laugh. "But didn't you create the opportunity for me to meet Leo? Didn't you introduce Sarah to my hospital for checkups? If you're going to blame anyone, blame yourself for being so stupid, letting Chloe make you lose your job and causing your family to spend so much money on your mother's medical treatment. I'm not interested in being charitable to that bottomless pit." I burst out laughing when I heard this. Sophia was truly the ultimate villain. Anyone who got involved with her faced bad luck. In her previous life, she wanted to be with Daniel so badly that she instigated him and Sarah to kill me. In this life, when I stayed away from them, she turned to harm Sarah to win Leo. I truly couldn't understand. There are so many men out there. Why did she always have to snatch other people's things? In the car, the atmosphere between Sophia and Daniel grew increasingly tense. She pounded on the door, screaming, "Stop the car now, or I'll call the police." Daniel's eyes turned red with anger as he stomped on the gas, driving like a madman. "Damn it, I told you to stop the car, do you hear me? If you don't, I'll take you to my sister. I'll expose your affair with Leo and ruin his company." Sophia, horrified, lunged at the driver's seat, trying to wrest the steering wheel from Daniel. The two struggled, and the car lost control, careening wildly on the highway. And then crash. My phone screen suddenly went black. I didn't need to guess. They had been in an accident. A few hours later, I saw news reports about Daniel's car being burned to a crisp, only half its frame remaining. The car had crashed into a stone pillar by the road. Sophia was flung out by the immense inertia and died on the spot. Daniel was lucky to survive thanks to his seatbelt, but his electric car was deformed and its battery exploded, causing the fire. Although he was rescued in time, he suffered severe burns, completely disfiguring his face. The fire had consumed everything, including that small USB drive. When I saw that news, I felt much more relieved. Just as expected, despite his arguments, Daniel couldn't bear it when Sophia uttered such harsh words. After my leave ended, I returned to the hospital and heard the interns gossiping. I heard there was a murder last night in the inpatient ward. The daughter of a paralyzed female patient stabbed the son of another patient right in the hospital. I heard he was stabbed through the chest and is in critical condition. Really? Those two patients are in-laws, and I think they even fought in the hospital before. It must be a family conflict. How terrifying. I just chuckled. Indeed, being single is the best. Finally, I was free. I would live my own life.